In the dusty lanes of a small village where the winds carried the scent of earth, dreams sparkled in the eyes of a girl named Gia. Her skin was dark. Her furs bore the warmth of sunlight and a quiet, unique beauty. People called her Black, throwing cruel taunts at her, but within her heart lived a sweet belief that one day someone would see her soul and not just her skin. Around the same time, Prince Virendra Singh had come to the nearby forest for hunting. During the chase, an injured leopard startled his horse, throwing him off. Unconscious, the prince was found by none other than Jaya. When he woke up, he was in a mud hut, and a girl was dressing his wounds. It was Gia. Virendra didn't reveal his identity. He said he was just a soldier. He stayed there for a few days, and with each day, he grew closer to Gia. Her innocence, her quiet compassion, and her words, they all felt like they belonged to another world. One night, it rained heavily. Lightning flashed across the skies. Gia handed him an old blanket and said, "Don't catch a cold. It's not like you're a prince who'll get royal care." They both laughed, and Virendra's heart sank a little. He wished he could tell her the truth, but he feared she might drift away if she knew who he really was. Eventually, it was time for him to leave. As he left, he said to her, "If fate allows, we'll meet again. But if ever a royal chariot stops at your doorstep, know that it's me." Weeks passed. Then one day, the entire village was stirred by the arrival of royal processions. Elephants, horses, soldiers, and in the center, a regal Prince Virendra Singh. To everyone's shock, his chariot halted outside the same humble hut. Standing before everyone, the prince declared, "I have come to take a precious jewel from your village. Gia, I want to make her my queen." The villagers were stunned. The same girl they once called inauspicious was to become the queen of the kingdom? Some whispered, "The prince has lost his mind." But the prince said, "I do not see her skin. I see her truth, her courage, and her love. And that is what makes a true queen." And so began a royal wedding remembered for generations. The kingdom lit up with lamps, drums echoed across the land, and for the first time Gia saw herself in the mirror, a bride. Tears welled up in her eyes, but her heart felt a calm it had never known. Life in the palace wasn't easy. Many queens were jealous. People mocked her. How can a dark-skinned girl be a queen? They ignored her, reduced her jewelry, delayed her services. But Gia stayed silent. She didn't complain. Instead, she helped with palace duties, listened to the problems of the people, and when she got moments with Virendra, she would walk with him silently in the garden, sometimes resting her head on his shoulder and whispering, "Because of you, I believed I was worthy for the first time." One night, under the moonlight by the lake, Virendra held her hand and said, "Your color is my pride, your soul is my glory, and your presence, my strength. You were always a queen. The world just took time to see it." Gradually, even the palace began to admire Gia's wisdom and grace. She started campaigns for women's education, built orphanages in villages, and launched free marriage programs for poor girls. Then came the day when the kingdom was attacked. Virendra was gravely injured, and the army began to retreat. Gia mounted a horse, picked up a sword, and with fierce leadership led them to victory. When they returned to the palace, a grand festival was organized, the Festival of Strength. On that day, the prince stood before the entire kingdom and made a declaration. Standing on the stage, he said, "This palace, this kingdom, and my life all belong to Queen Gia. If her skin is like the earth, remember, it is from this earth that all life is born." Then he bent down before her and said, "Today I become a true king by touching her feet." The entire palace rose to its feet. Applause thundered, chants filled the air, and tears flowed down Gia's cheeks. No one called her black anymore. Now they all recognized her by her brilliance. Her love had won a prince's heart, and her soul the hearts of an entire kingdom. A few years later, the air in the palace had grown even gentler. The courtyards bloomed with fragrant flowers, and there was a new radiance on Gia's face, the glow of motherhood. She was pregnant. Once again, the kingdom rejoiced. People lit lamps, offered prayers, and celebrated with music and laughter. From the richest halls to the poorest huts, blessings poured in for the future heir of the kingdom. And then, on a bright, peaceful morning, the palace echoed with the cries of a newborn. A baby boy was born. Tears welled up in Virendra's eyes as he held his son for the first time, wrapped gently in Gia's arms. The child had her soulful eyes, his father's calm smile, and a spark that seemed to carry generations of love. The entire palace came alive with joy. The little prince began to grow. His tiny footsteps soon filled the marble halls. His giggles echoed in the gardens. And his mischief became a part of everyone's daily life. He would run into royal meetings chasing butterflies, hide in the queen's dupattas, or tug at the king's sword asking, "Can I be a warrior too?" His innocence softened even the harshest hearts. Servants adored him, ministers laughed at his antics, and the people often gathered outside the palace just to catch a glimpse of their playful little prince. Gia would often sit in the royal garden watching her son chase fireflies, her hand resting in Virendra's. They would smile, remembering how far they had come. One night, as they all sat under the stars, the prince asleep in Gia's lap, Virendra whispered, This is what true royalty feels like. Not the throne, not the power, but love, family, and peace." And in that moment, everything was complete. From a dusty village to a golden crown, from being judged for her skin to being worshipped for her soul. Gia had written her own destiny. Her love had conquered doubt, her courage had silenced cruelty, and now her legacy danced in the laughter of a child. The kingdom slept peacefully that night, with its king, its queen, and its little prince, wrapped in a bond stronger than any sword or crown.